guys, it's Miss Coker. This week we are going to learn about lines and shapes, and it is a lesson to show you that anybody can draw. A lot of times I hear people say, I can't draw, but if you can write letters, write numbers, write your name, then you can draw. Drawing can be taught, and it's all about learning the elements of shape. Okay? I've uploaded this worksheet, and if you can make dots and circles and lines, then you can draw. And I'm going to teach you how to look at things and how to identify the shapes in them, and then how to break that down and how to draw. So the lesson that we're starting today is going to be a two-part lesson. So you'll draw today, and then you'll hold on to it, and we'll add color to it next time. Okay, so make sure you don't lose it. Have a folder or something to put it in. You are going to be using a Sharpie if you have it, a black Sharpie, and there are some Sharpie rules that you have to follow. Okay, Sharpies are permanent markers. You cannot color on anything except the paper that we're using. You cannot smell the Sharpies. Sharpies are permanent markers, which means they have a chemical in them, and they have a really weird smell to them, and some people like to smell those. Well, that can be dangerous to you if you do that too much. So the rule in the art room is, if I see you smelling a Sharpie, you're telling me that you're too young, you're too much of a baby still, and that you should not have a permanent marker. So I'll take that permanent marker from you until you show me that you have some control and that you understand it can be dangerous for you. Okay? So make sure you're using it responsibly. If you don't have a Sharpie, totally fine. Use a black crayon, okay? And the reason I want you to use a crayon instead of a black marker is because black markers, when they get wet, or any kind of these markers when they get wet, they run. And we're going to be adding some water to it later, and I don't want your drawing to run. So black Sharpie or black crayon, either one. I have uploaded a worksheet, this worksheet for everybody, and then a second worksheet for my 4th and 5th graders. So make sure you check out all of the attachments that are with the lesson today. And remember that it's recorded, so if I go too fast, you can pause it. Take your time doing your drawing, and then hit play or rewind it, okay? Don't ever feel like, oh, she's going too fast, I can't do this. Just pause me. I'm always there, okay? I want you to take your time. I want you to do your absolute best work. Nobody should finish this in 10 or 15 minutes. It's just not possible. It took me forever, and I've been teaching art for 20 years, okay? So best work, keep it neat, and I can't wait to see him next week, okay? So here we go. I hear a lot of students tell me, I can't draw. I don't know how to draw. I don't draw very well. We're gonna change that phrase. We're gonna change that way of thinking. Anybody can draw. Anybody in the world. If you can write a number, if you can write a letter, if you can write your name, if you can draw a circle, you can draw a picture. It's all in how you look at something. And if you know these elements of a shape, and there's just 5 of them, then you can draw. So we're going to learn those today, okay? So the first group that we're going to talk about is called the dot and the circle family. It's these two families right here. This first one is called the dot family. The second one is called the circle family. Now look at those two families. What do you notice about those two families? If you said they have all the same shapes, you're absolutely right. In both families, they have the same shapes. They have a circle, they have an oval, they have an ellipse, and they have a kidney. What else do you notice about them? One of the families is colored in, one of the families is not. So the family that's colored in, that's our dot family, okay? So if we're drawing a picture and I tell you to draw me a small dot, then you know that by me using the word dot, that you should draw a circle and then color it in, because I said dot. If I say draw me a small circle, you're gonna draw me something that looks like this, and you're not gonna say, but Miss Coker, do I color that in? Because we've just learned our vocabulary, and if I had wanted you to color it in, what would I have told you to draw? That's right, I would have said, please draw me a dot. So art vocabulary is very important to learn. So if I ask you to draw a dot, you're gonna do what? Color it in. If I asked you to draw a circle, you're just gonna leave it empty, okay? Another thing to notice about these two families is there are no straight lines or pointy corners anywhere. They're all curved, okay? So keep that in mind. Now we're gonna talk about the line families. These are some of my favorites. This right here, this is the straight line family, okay? No curved edges, no pointy corners. They're just going in straight lines. Some of them are thin, some of them are thick or bold. They can go sideways, they can go up and down, they can go this way, which is called diagonal. They can hang out together in groups like families do. This is called a dashed line. Some people call that a dotted line, but we just learned that dots are circles that are colored in. Does that look like a dot? No. So start calling this a dashed line. That's what that means. Small line segments put together. Line segments. What other course that we study do we use the word line segment? If you said math, you get a point. Good job. All right, so that's the straight line family. The curved line family, you guessed it, there are no straight lines anywhere in there. They're all curved, okay? Curved, curve, 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 curve. This is my favorite. This is called the spiral or the swirl, however you want to call it. I'm going to teach you the coolest thing about the swirl. A lot of people draw a swirl like this. They'll start out here and they'll go in, which is great, but that's as big as your swirl can be. If you will start your swirl in the middle with just a dot, and then take that dot on a walk in a circle, watch this. Then my swirl can get bigger and bigger and bigger, and it can get as big as I want it to be before I stop it. But only if I start in the middle. If I start on the outside and go in, it can only be that big. Okay, so that's how you draw a swirl. And that swirl is part of the curved line family. All right, last line family, the angled line family. There are no curved lines in here. It's made up of straight lines that come together to form a point, okay? So we've got this line here. What's that look like? An upside down check mark, yep. So it goes up, comes to a point, and goes off at another angle. What letter does this look like? A V. And what about this one? An L. Good. Okay, all of these are angle line families. Okay? Now, can you write the letters of the alphabet? Yes, I bet most of you can do that easily. They're all made up of these lines right here. Okay? If I were to ask you a letter that would be the angle line family, that's not the V or the L, because we just talked about them, what would you say? Think about it. If you said a capital A, you would be correct. If you said a capital E or a capital F, capital I, a W, an X, all of those are correct. Can you think of a letter that would be in the curved line family? if you said C or S or O, you would be absolutely correct. So, if you can draw these lines and these dots and these circles, guess what you can do? You can draw. Yep. So, this week we are going to make some art using what we've just learned with the circles and the lines and the dots, and I'm going to talk you through a drawing. So you are going to need a piece of paper, crayon or Sharpie, and this piece of paper that I've uploaded to Schoology. You can pull that up to look at it, or I'm going to talk about it so you don't really need to look at it, but if you want to print that out you can, or just have it up on your computer screen to look at. All right, I am going to draw with my Sharpie. You can have your paper portrait, which is this way, or you can have your paper landscape, which is this way. It does not matter. You make that choice, you make that decision, okay? Anywhere on your paper, I'm gonna call things out for you to draw, and you draw it. You make the choice where it's gonna be. It does not have to be exactly like mine. It does not have to be exactly where I put mine. So if I've got my paper landscape and you want your paper portrait, turn your paper. This is your artwork. But on your artwork, I want you to draw a fairly large square. Don't take up the whole page. And it doesn't have to be perfect. We're drawing freehand. But draw me a square. That square is made up of angle lines. So it's in the angle line family. Inside that square, I want you to put different shapes of circles. Okay, so we've got circles, we've got ovals, we've got ellipses, which are squish circles. I'll show you how to do those. And we've got kidney shapes. So I'm going to start off with just a circle. An ellipse looks like a pancake. Okay, that's an ellipse. An oval. I'm going to do a half a circle. That's like coming in from the box. I like ellipses a lot. Maybe I'll do some small circles. So just decorate that box with the circle family. Okay? On the outside of that box, and if I go too fast, remember you're watching this on video, you can pause it. And then when you're ready, hit play. On the outside of that box, around it, I want you to do a dashed line, but I want it to be a bold dashed line. So we're actually going to draw a little rectangle and color it in. All the way around your box. And when you're coloring it in, try to be really neat about it. You don't want any little hairs on the outside of it. Craftsmanship is a really big thing. Make sure your work is neat. It's going to make a difference in how it looks, how much time you put into it. Okay, when you finish that, somewhere on your paper, on the edge of your paper, coming off from the edge, I want you to do me a really big circle. So it's coming in from the edge of your paper. It can be on the side, it can be top, bottom, I don't care. Around it, I want you to do dots. And if I say dots, what do I have to do? Color it in. You got it. Again, take your time. Inside that half circle, give me an angled line that's called a zigzag. And you can do several. I wouldn't put them too close together because we are going to add color later. From one corner of your paper to the other, and it doesn't matter again what corner you do, I want you to do a wavy line, and don't do a teeny tiny wavy line. Make them big waves. So we're kind of dividing the paper in half. On that line, we're going to do some straight line family. We're going to hang them out together. Give me 5. They can be all different sizes. They can be skinny, they can be bold. Your choice. Doesn't matter. From the middle of the wavy line to one side, draw a straight line. And if it's not exactly straight, does it matter? Nope. No, it does not. Then I want you to turn your paper. If you've got your paper landscape, I want you to turn it portrait. If you have your paper portrait, I want you to turn it landscape. Look at it a different way. Okay, this is kind of artwork that's called abstract, so it can be looked at any way we want. Now, I'm going to add a zigzag line, another zigzag line, because these are kind of small. And I'm going to make mine go from the middle of my straight line. It's going to go through my curved line and off the page. And again, I'm not going to make anything small. Everything's going to be big. So I'm starting to divide my paper into sections. Somewhere on your paper, I want you to draw my very favorite curved line. Do you remember what that was? Yep, spiral. Remember to start in the middle and take that dot on a walk so that you can make it as big as you want it. And if it crosses over a line or it crosses over another picture, that's fine. It can go behind, it can go off the page and come back on. Totally up to you. Now, I have all this area that's kind of empty, and I want to kind of frame it out. I'm going to use the dash line. You remember that dash line that everybody calls the dotted line? I'm going to use that dash line, and I'm going to make a little frame for my picture. I'm going to leave a little bit of white space between the edge of the paper and my dash line. I have so much right here, I'm not going to do my dash line over it. And then I'm going to write a word that makes me happy. I've got this space right here I want to put something in. And you don't always have to fill all the space up, but I feel like I need something right here. So I'm going to write a word that makes me really happy when I just even think about it. Okay, the beach makes me really, really happy. Now, if there's other things you want to add to yours, do that. And we're just adding lines and shapes. We are not adding pictures. Once you're finished, I want you to put this somewhere where it's not going to get messed up. We're going to bring it back out next week and we're going to add color to it. Don't want you to add color yet because I want to talk you through. We're going to have several options of how we're going to add color to it. So make sure you put this away so that you know where it is, so that next week's art class you can pull it out and we'll talk about different ways to add color to it. Okay? Hope you enjoyed it. Remember the basic elements of shape. Once you know this and can do this, you can draw anything. All right, so I hope you had fun making those, and I can't wait to see them next week when we add color to it. So be ready with that. Make sure you put it in a safe place. Make sure you bring it back for the next lesson, okay? Hope y'all have a great week. Love you, see ya, bye.